Hey everyone, back with another video. I just want to talk about really what does success actually look like. A lot of times you may see my videos, you see me waking up at 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, going to the gym, having a really productive day of like 6 to 8 hours of studying, right? Or working. And I'm be honest, that's not me every day. There's days when I wake up, I don't want to do work. I wake up maybe at 6, maybe 7. I eat some breakfast, don't really get after it that day, maybe go hang out with friends or something, right? And don't work until like later in the afternoon, or maybe I spend the whole day with family and stuff. So like, you need to realize success is not going to be constantly just like you have all the time to work. That should be the goal, but it's not like really what's going to actually happen. Here's what a more realistic, day in the life may be like. It's like you're going to wake up. Maybe you're going to have a bunch of errands you need to do that day that still need to get done. So it's going to interrupt you from having a nice uninterrupted work session. Then you're going to come back and maybe only have an hour to work. And then maybe you're going to go do another errand or go out to eat or, go eat lunch or just do a bunch of other stuff, right? So you work for that 1 hour. Then you come back and you have a couple more errands to do. And then you have a couple 2-hour block, right? So you try to work for those 2 hours. Then you have a couple other 30-minute blocks and 10-minute blocks and 5-minute blocks. Like that's the reality of the day. The day is just a mosaic, which means like it has a bunch of different pieces. It's a mosaic of these different times like slots. They're not all gonna be like I get like 4 hours to work or I get like 6 hours to work uninterrupted, right? The reality is you just got to keep pushing as much as possible because there's going to be times when you're not able to work just because of a range of factors, right? You need to go see family. That's important. You need to go out with friends. Okay, maybe that's important once in a while, right? So like you need to take care of yourself. That's all important. But you need to work really hard during the times that you actually work. You cannot afford to have there be slack during those times. When you commit and say, I'm going to work, you need to work. And you need to work with the intensity and the focus and the drive of almost a possessed person. Okay? Because if you don't work really hard those times, and let's say the rest of the time you get interrupted and you only have like, not super like focused work and it's just hard, you're slowing down a lot, guys. You are really slowing down. And if you want to become successful, you cannot afford to slow down. You need your average, your literal average of all the stuff you do, of like all the work you do, all the breaks you take. You need your average to be more than the, average person. But how do you get there? You get there by having really intense work sessions and try to have as many as possible because that's going to raise your average workload, right? And then even on those days, if you have some errand come up and you don't work that day, your average for the week is still way above just a regular person, who just kind of works hard sometimes and then takes a lot of breaks. So really that's like, I think the most practical tip I can give you is that, it's complicated. You're not going to have like just a full summer just to work. You're going to have all these commitments, all these different things you have to go to. But it's like whenever you decide to work, you need to go all in and just focus on that as much as possible because that's like the only chance you're going to get. And you don't know when the next one's going to be. So take each opportunity to work as like its own opportunity. Don't expect that, I'm going to be able to work like forever, so I don't need to, do this very seriously. No, you're going to have something else pop up in your schedule. You're going to have so many things try to like, just remove that work session from your like schedule. So you need to just go after it completely in the time that you actually have to work. And that's my biggest tip because that's how all these successful people do it. They have their schedule is just all over the place. It's completely packed with a bunch of random stuff and a bunch of stuff they actually care about and need to work on. And it's like in those moments they need to actually do work. They need to be super locked in focused. They need to just like crank it out as much as possible so they can maximize the rest of their day and get more done. Hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Make sure you follow and subscribe for more.